I cannot remember the last time that I've been so wrong with the first impression of a show, the impressions that I make before I even watch the show. And then for it to turn out so much better than I expected. A boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist is firstly a very long title. But secondly, it makes me think that, like the description of the world that it gives, the show itself is going to be rather boring. Oh, so dirty jokes don't exist, do they? Well, that probably means we're going to have this protagonist that knows exactly what a dirty joke is and finds it hilarious and uses it constantly for the comedic amusement of all. I bet there's going to be a ton of edgy moments in this show too, and somebody's going to have a great old time with this show in their bunk later on. At least that's what I originally thought. What the show actually has is 1984 levels of totalitarian governmental bullshit. See, the title is a bit misleading because the concept of the dirty joke does indeed exist. It's just illegal and has been for over a decade. How can you make dirty jokes illegal? Well, you just slap a vocal monitor on everyone that summons the cops whenever a dirty word is spoken. Now, I realize how absurd this premise is. Like, the chances of an uprise not happening when these kinds of rules came out is almost non-existent. And that's probably why the series decides to take place a decade afterwards. Okay, so we have a society where for the last decade, dirty jokes, lewd material, and anything sexual has basically been outlawed from day-to-day life. And let's ignore the fact that this would eventually lead to a society that doesn't know what sex is, and therefore the future of the human race becomes a interesting prospect. So, what kind of story can you tell in this world? Well, let's introduce one of our main characters, the lewd terrorist Blue Snow, who runs around in just a sheet with panties over her face, distributing sexual materials wherever she goes. Now, she enlists the help of actual protagonist Takanichi, who would very much like to continue his quest to become as pure as society wants him to be. Of course, while he doesn't want to admit it to anyone, he secretly likes going against society, so he follows along, getting into some rather risque situations, all for the sake of attempting to educate the youth on matters of unmentionables. Because yes, they happen to go to a high school that is so pure that no one knows what sex is, or how humans reproduce, and it is exceedingly difficult to teach them when the government makes such things illegal. But that seems to be their ultimate goal, to return society to what it was. Because once you've dropped down into that rabbit hole of dirty jokes, it's almost impossible to get out of, so why be imprisoned for it? Especially when it's necessary for the continuation of the human race. The comedy is wrapped up in the absurdity of it all. Sure, it's not realistic whatsoever, but that's kind of the point. It's like the show is poking fun at anyone who says that these topics should be taboo. Possibly even the small amount of censorship we have now is too much, which is funny considering that the show has censorship built in, bleeping out words and covering up obscene acts. It's hypocritical in that sense, but it knows it, and it just runs with the idea, which is why it's so wonderfully absurd. So, bottom line, should you check this show out? I would say yes. It's quite possible, as with all comedies, that this will not be to your taste, but the concept is unique enough that it deserves a chance. Now, I have no idea where the show's actually going from here on out. I suspect, though, we'll move on from mischief at a high school level to a more regional one, dealing with actually trying to repeal laws and so forth, which might be entertaining, or we'll get another couple of episodes into it and it'll be extremely boring. But we won't know until the end, so we might as well get there first, then decide. So what did you guys think? Let me know down in the Whatchamajig, and if you know anything about the show beyond the first 3 episodes at all, which some of you probably do, no spoilers in the comments, please. And if this video has piqued your interest, then I would like to inform you that Shimoneta is available for streaming in North America on Funimation's website. Indeed it is. At present, it doesn't look like the show is going to be getting a broadcast dub, mainly because they would have announced that by now, if it actually were, but it is Funimation, so we're gonna get a dub no matter what, it's just a matter of when. But at least on their website, they'll have the entire show for stream for free, with the exception of, as usual, the most recent episodes, which are going to be behind their subscription paywall. And if you do have a Funimation subscription, well then, you can be completely up to date. Unlike these first reaction videos, which are kind of getting labeled as better late than never. So thank you for joining me on this first reaction. If you like this sort of thing, hit the like button to let me know, or post a comment. That works too, as this is very much a work in progress, and if you have a suggestion for something that I should talk about next, please let me know that as well. And until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.